Oh, I'm live. All right. Okay. Talking about Trump. The thing you were saying in his speech. Where'd it go? It's been a long work day, so I'm gathering my thoughts. Trump was saying he was placing gun violence partially. I think it was. I could be off on some of those details, like violence on video games.
I told you.
You told me what? What? One second. Oh, okay. You can take that with you. You can tell me about it later. Or you already told me about it. Go back in your cage. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the child.
Oh, yes.
Okay, bye.
I figured you were talking to the child and not me.
You too. Join the child in the cage. Actually, I'm joking. I know a lot of people take things seriously on the internet. It's a double wide cage, so that way there's plenty of room to put both of the wife and child in there whenever I need to put them in their kennel to go to sleep, you know, like the dog. You got to put them somewhere. Now, back to Trump's statements he had made about video games causing violence. These violent video games like Fortnite. Fortnite's a video game. Oh, I don't think it's a video game. It's considered a video game. It's not a great video game. People enjoy it. I mean, it's a battle royale, and I'm not saying I'm good at the game. That's not my reasoning for why I'm saying Fortnite is a bad game. I'm saying Fortnite is a bad game because it's repetitive. Just like World of Warcraft was repetitive. I mean, there's quests, and you could group up with people. You could go to dungeons, and you can go and do these quests and dungeons with groups of people, and you could PvP in this game. But like, there's more than one thing to do in World of Warcraft, and that's why I call it a game. There's like storylines with these quests and stories to these, you know, like with these dungeons and stuff. That's, to me, that's an actual game. There's an actual game in that game. Now, if you look at Fortnite, you you go in these you're dropped off in this map, right? And everybody's running around, you know, trying to take each other out to be like the last person standing or whatever. It's a battle royale game. That's it. I mean, they might have like add little things here and there to make the matches around different somehow, but it doesn't add to what it is as a game. It doesn't add like any type of variations of things that you can do outside of killing each other while building. And it's not like it's grotesque violence in this video game. It's a cartoonish character that falls over whenever they die. There's no blood. There's no gore. Arms, limbs, nothing like falling off or going splattering everywhere. I mean, we've had video games where when you shoot people, it's more realistic. It looks realistic, almost. The difference with like life, you would see blood, you know, you possibly see like the inside of where the bullet wound would be, but in an actual video game, you know, you might see the blood in like a little spot, but you don't see very big details of like where the shot wound is, or, you know, very graphic detailed of that type of thing. Trump is also talking about giving power to, I forget, it's either like the CIA or FBI, or it's some fucking government branch of like that you know, is part of the government. So these specific branches of the government that, work in their own area. He's giving them specific power to mess with people that have the wrong type of speech, may say the wrong types of things, may have the wrong ideology or the wrong, not wrong ideology, but the wrong type of thing. Like if a person says things that come off as racist or bigoted, he made those types of statements too, that if you say things that come off as racist or bigoted, then that was going to be scrutinized under specific details of being scrutinized, which is ridiculous. It's clearly ridiculous. Like stand-up comics used to be able to do stand-up comedy, like Cedric the Entertainer, all these different types of people that said some really harsh things, but that was part of, comedy, stand-up comedy jokes, joking around. You can look at something somebody's saying and you understand, okay, well, this person's obviously joking. I mean, I get it, I understand it, and the government has the surveillance to be able to go and talk to a person and ask them about specifics, types of stuff. And this is all just an obsession form of type control. What befuddles me is the fact that people think that Trump is a Republican and a believer. I gotta put them in their cages, I forget. And those statements are false. If you for a minute think that Trump is a believer, he's religious, he's a believer. If you think that he's religious, a believer, and he can't quote like things from the Bible or know things from the Bible, he's messed up when asked about the Bible or religion, Christianity, or this or that, whatever he was claiming to be. He was claiming to be some type of Christian, so they were asking him stuff on the Bible. I remember I was watching a video, and he said something that was completely wrong, and it was so dumb. It was on the level of like Bush, or even worse than something that was on the level of what Bush would have said about how being wrong about religion. So I'm not buying it. I mean, I have $2 quadrillion that he's not. I'm pretty positive that he's not. That shouldn't take a genius to figure it out.
Daddy,
What?
it's my water.
Good, because you're supposed to be making sure you drink plenty of water a day. Now go get back in your cage. See, he's a good boy. He listens. He gets back in his cage. Oh, it's just awful. Hey,
What?
get back in your cage.
What kid?
That cage in there. Swear, he does not train these kids good enough to stay in their cage. Like, I'm not a believer, okay? I'm an atheist. Whenever it comes to debating, I'm an agnostic atheist. Because I mean, I'm somewhat confident being, that's why I have the agnostic part to the atheist part. Because I'm somewhat confident debating. I mean, I'm not like on the level of like Sam Harris or Christopher Hitchens I wish I was that smooth to be as smooth as like Christopher Hitchens. That guy was smooth as F. He could make any S. I had to abbreviate to letters because, you know, children. What are you gonna do? I mean, I try locking them in a cage, but they can still hear. You know, they have ears. I haven't cut those off yet. Now, see, like joking around with like the stuff Trump was saying, that type of thing. There probably a lot of stuff you say will be scrutinized and taken seriously, and that's the depressing part. That's one of the depressing things about the whole that he was saying to me is that, you know, you could possibly get in trouble for things you say, even when they're not, you know, something you mean. You know, you're just joking around. You're joking. Or like the video games thing. People playing video games are not violent. If that was true, like this, Yao Ying Yao. I know is a YouTuber. His name is something like that. I get his name mixed up. Ying Ya or Yao Ying or Yang Yao. Now I sound like a bigot. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. He has awesome content. Very amazing content. He was talking about this too. He was showing a list of the different countries, and all of them were like very tiny incidences. And the U.S., like the bar is like this, and all the other countries is like this. And some of the ones that were very small on that scale was like, I think it was like Korea was on there. It was either Japan and China. I forget which order those were in, but they were all specifically like almost exactly the same on the smallest scale. And if it was true, those Asian countries, most of the people in those countries play video games at a very high percent on the top. Like they have a majority of people playing video games, but there's like a very, very like tiny. They're like one of the lowest ones whenever it comes to gun violence. I mean, if that was true, and people, this is the point he was making, and it's a very good point. I didn't know about that until he brought it up. That if that was true, then yeah, Japan, China, whichever ones it was, Korea, you know, those countries where they play video games, a lot of video games, then they would have like a breakout of mass shootings, like nonstop. There would be more mass shootings there than there would be here, which is not the case, which is not true, which is false. You know, leave it to a politician to say something false. Why, by George, I think I've never heard of such a thing. To leave it to a politician to say something false? That is quite ridiculous. What is going on? A politician? What? Did you say more? A politician said something false? What? It's unheard of. False? Never happens. I remember when Bill Clinton said, I did not receive any, I forget exactly how that phrasing goes, any favors from a mistress, madam? Understood in my blouse? Or her blouse? That's by Joe. I think he's got it. Yeah, never happens. Never happens. Shoot, never happens. I mean, BJ in the White House? Preposterous. That stain was not real. That was a fabricated stain. If I've ever seen a fabricated stain, just like the story of the saying that we go over to the east. Preposterous. We went over there because 9/11. And after 9/11, because we'd never been over there before. After 9/11, we bravely went over there and stayed over there for several years. Because it's not because of the oil and the poppy. Because of the because of 9/11. That's exactly the reason why we go everywhere. Is because of 9/11. And don't you question that narrative? I mean, I understand, like, joking aside, I understand, like, the patriotism type of side, but it comes into question so many years later when you were told one thing, and okay, I understand that you know, people are riled up, people are angry, but you know, we got Osama, right? We got Osama, the guy who claims that it was his group that, you know, did that. So why are we still over there? Why do we still have troops in the Middle East? It's just like Obama. When Obama was elected, he said that he was going to shut down Guantanamo. I remember that was specifically one of the things that he had said. As fact, as far as I know, it's not shut down. Did not keep that promise. I mean, was that a hard thing to do? He couldn't do that, being the president. I mean, I really am confused by that one. The Guantanamo, the thing with the border walls. My argument with the border wall is people what argue about is that we should have a wall, we should build a wall. Okay, I kind of see, I kind of get this mindset thinking. Immigrants want to come here, become legal immigrants. I come from an Irish background, potato farmer. You know, there was people coming from Ireland because of famine, they couldn't grow potatoes. So, you know, you have Irish people coming to America. You know, you have people from other parts of the world coming to America. And it's supposed to be like land of the free of opportunity. So I understand if you come here, you get on a visa, you know, you go through everything you're supposed to go through to become an American citizen. Okay, that's fine, whatever. But if you don't put forth the effort to become an American citizen while you're here, then I understand the other side of the argument that, hey, we're going to send this group of people to you to remove you from the country that you supposedly say you want to be a part of and be in. If you're not going to go through the steps to become an American citizen, I understand that part of the argument. Just like the whole thing with the wall, though, it was argued that it would cost so much of an exorbitant amount of money that there wouldn't be able to go through because of the way the land was set, mountains and shit in the way. And another part of the argument is like technology technology makes it to where it's more easier to keep track of if there's people actually crossing. Then you can send out like soldiers to, go and round up people that they see trying to cross the border. Also, there was yes, I forgot the other thing about the border. There was some other. Oh, okay. The border, like more people come into America. There's like, I think they said 60% of people who come into America from other countries come by like other means also, like airplane and boats or some shit. So this whole thing derailed off of into an immigration conversation. I mean,
Mama almost
okay, go back to your cage. Don't back talk to me. I'll put you in your cage. Yeah, the thing with Trump, I'm trying to focus because I have a huge ADHD problem that runs in my family. My older brother and our son have it. It's just something that it is what it is. So I'm focusing. This whole thing derailed off to a tangent talk about immigration. I'm going to go from the immigration argument to, well, what argument is, I think people should be able to come here if they're going to work to make money and be, have some type of means of, I'm going to do good, things while I'm here, pay into the tax system, and get a visa where I can live and work and be part of the system, and put some kind of effort into wanting to be a citizen while you're here, or get legal citizenship. I've never had to worry about that because I was born here. It's just how it happened. I was just born here. I might not have been born here if my parents and their relatives didn't come here. Then I might have never been born here. I might have not even been born the same person. I might have been born a different person. I'm not completely like anti-immigration. I just want people to be able to go about the right process through to getting legal status. I think like Yao Ying, is this YouTuber's name? He was saying the different processes, like different countries that they have to be able to get and own a gun, like going through a test, psychological checkup or whatever, all these different things, like getting your driver's license, or you'd have so many steps before you could get that thing. I could understand that, put in place those types of steps instead of just trying to place the blame onto, well, violent video games made these people go out and do these types of horrible actions. No, it's not the video games. We know it's not the video games. That's completely false. Just saying those types of things is negligently, like, I don't even know what to call it other than mentally handicapped, because we already know it has shit all to do with video games. People, they want to be able to listen to whatever music, movies, games, books, etc., etc., etc. Be able to enjoy entertainment and not be messed with. They shouldn't have to worry about enjoying entertainment. The types of people who I've noticed who do those types of things is the ones that are like they always have some kind of weird kind of motive to what they're doing and why they're doing it. Like I don't remember all these different people off the top of my head, their names specifically, but there's one guy where he was like in his car and he had his shades on, and that dude sounded like he was into dudes, and he was talking about how he could not get a female, and he was just like, oh, well, I'm such a good looking dude. I hate these stupid messages that pop up, like from Google. I forget what that dude's name was, but he, right in the middle of my stream, I told them to get back in their cage. That dude, he was sitting in his car and he was talking about like how everybody was should be lucky. All these females should be lucky and like begging to be with them, and that's why he was upset and mad. And then he went on some other kind of weird tangent about like I'm trying to remember exactly what he was saying specifically off the top of my head, because with these distractions and these damn pop-ups from these people's notifications that they're on, or they put a video. So please just stop. I spent all day at work. I clicked the bell. Like a good little boy. And oh man. Boy man. And I don't tell anybody to do that. Like I like to make these types of videos so I get out what I want to get out. My thoughts or whatever. Yeah, that dude, he was talking about some really weird stuff about how these females just, they weren't good enough for him, but they weren't given the time of day, and he was recording like some of it in his car, and he's a younger guy. I can't remember what that dude's name is. So I know he had like really thin cheeks, and he was like wearing black shades, and whenever he's talking in his vehicle, and that dude was really weird. I think that's why he did what he did. And I might get these other two mixed up, but the one that was now I'm really confused because they happen so close together. I'm not even sure which one is which. But there was one dude. One of those dudes was I think it was said he was like an atheist. That was a satanic atheist, or I don't know, some weird shit like that. And I'm not sure. All I know is I heard like one of the fucking deals they write out, or why they did with the manifesto. I just heard it like one of the manifestos that was read, and then the following day, I think somebody had posted that there was another shooting on the news that he said there was another one. So I don't know if that was a third one, like just a day or two later, or what. I'm just saying, I'm not specifically going to Walmart's. And I'm going to pick the most weirdest random time to go, so that way I know I'm safe. Because I definitely don't want to go there at any convenient times where like there could be somebody there, and I have to worry, is there going to be a crazy fucking person come in here that I have to worry about? I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, That's what pisses me off the most about these people who do these shootings is it's my life, just like it was those people's lives. You have taken from them. You have taken from their families. You've ripped it from their families. And it's so absurd. I mean, the penalty for that type of thing should be the death penalty. I mean, that's what it's for. It's for taking care of those individuals who feel that they have the right to go around taking people's lives that didn't do anything to deserve what was done. Even be that as it may, even if they were legal or illegally here, does not matter, does not give two shits. Just because somebody's here doesn't mean you have a right to shoot that person. Like, if they're not bothering you and they're just out shopping, they're spending money in the economy, then you should just fuck off back to your hole. Just leave those people alone. Like, everybody that's here now came from family or past relatives that migrated or immigrated here. People today that are here today, besides like fucking people who are Native American Indians who were actually here before many people were here, those people have like a legitimate argument as to say, yeah, you guys need to fuck off, seriously. Like, I understand that argument. That argument would make sense. I come up from a background of Irish people, like I said. Irish, Scottish, and some British. Irish, Scottish, some British. Possibly Spanish. Possibly some Spanish. And, you know, I think that plays a part of it, you know, because it makes me think about, you know, well, I have ancestors that came here, migrated here for a good purpose or good reason, because they needed a place to go where they could survive and have food and be able to, you know, live peacefully, not have to, you know, worry about it. Hey, is some crazy asshole gonna, you know, gun us all down? You know, people don't come to the land of the free for that reason. They come to the land of the free because they see, you know, like opportunities to make, you know, a better life for themselves and their family. You know, they don't purposely. I would say the majority of people who come here illegally and legally don't come here to screw over the American people. I'd say it'd be the other way around, because they're getting taxes taken out and they're not getting anything in return on those taxes. Like, they're not citizens. The ones that are here illegally, that they're working and making money, they're paying into a system that they're not getting any type of benefit, unless, you know, as far as I'm aware, they go through the you know, becoming a legal citizen, and see, and that's what confuses the shit out of me too. Like, if you're here illegally and you're working and you're getting paid, and then you're paying taxes from your check, then how the hell are you paying taxes from your check if you're here illegally and your information's like, do they just like, that's the whole part of it that confuses the shit out of me. I mean, I don't see how, I mean, unless you're working, getting paid under the table, that makes sense. This is when a completely fucking weird tangent of a bunch of other arguments. But yeah, the thing about Trump is the reason why Trump is elected is it was is basically, and I've heard people say this before too, that an election is like, you know, a popularity contest, you know, or who can they tolerate more? And the only reason people can tolerate Trump more than Hillary is because I think more people hated Hillary that much more than Trump, and I get that, I understand that, but it's hard for me to believe that Trump is a racist like a bunch of people claim he is. Whenever he said he wanted to end racism and bigotry, now, call me crazy. I mean, I guess he could be lying, but why would somebody want to end a thing that they're part of? And I guess the argument to that, if I was to assume from somebody who's left leaning, would be, oh, he's just saying that, man, because because that's what a closeted racist would say. I mean, I guess that would be their argument, but I mean, how do you know what is inside a person's head, what they're thinking? I mean, yeah, we could assume that that person is a racist bigot. I mean, how would you know? I mean, you wouldn't know. You would just have to go based off of what they're saying. Yeah, excuse me for being so rude of drinking water. I'm working on hot, sweaty balls. Heat confused factory. Well, it's almost dinner time, so yeah. Have a lovely evening and enjoy the rest of your day.